Let's get the presentation started with Andy and the sky this month.
Hi, my name is Andy Beaton. I'm speaking to you from my secret basement fortress in downtown Toronto, Ontario, and I'm here to talk about the sky this month. As usual, the stuff I want to go through, the big picture, key dates, a total solar eclipse for a change, the moon, planets, deep sky stuff, a double star, a variable star, and whatever's going on in this world of spaceflight. So the big picture, step out tonight around 8 p.m. and look to the south, and this is what we ought to be seeing. Seeing our usual fall constellations and more than a few planets heading down towards the western horizon. Maybe just a last glimpse at the summer constellations, Aquila, Capricornus, and Vulpecula still there. And far off to the east, all our usual winter constellations will be rising, Taurus, Orion, and all the rest. But a good parade of planets there, Saturn, Jupiter, Neptune, Uranus, Ceres, and Neptune will be following on later. If we step ahead to the next meeting, if we show up at 6 o'clock in the morning and take a look at the morning sky, we can already get an early glimpse of the spring and early summer constellations, Bootes, Hercules, Virgo, etc. Not so much in the way of planets at this time. All the planets seem to be at the evening rather than the morning this time. Maybe get a glimpse of Mars just before sunrise, but not much else. The nights are getting longer for a few more weeks. This is the peak astrophotography time of the year. We're going to get the longest nights coming up as we approach the winter solstice. Astronomical twilight is at 6:05 tonight, and dark sky goes until 5:35 in the morning. By the time we get around to our next meeting, we'll have been through the longest night and things will be getting shorter again. By the next meeting, twilight's finished at 6:20 and starting at 5:52. One of the things I like about standard time is when I'm figuring these times out, I don't have to try and figure out which way the adjustment of the clock goes when I'm looking at universal time. So this is what's going to appear on your clock. You don't have to try and calculate something different. So key dates of fun stuff coming up. Total solar eclipse in a few days. The winter solstice is coming. New moon on January 2nd. The moon is at apogee on the 18th and perigee on January 1st. I always put that note in there to say which is far and which is close, because I've been doing this for decades and I can never remember. So if I don't, I'm sure other people don't. We have the full moon on December 19th. We've got two really good meteor showers coming up, the Geminids on December 14th and the Quadrantids on January 3rd. The total solar eclipse, December 4th. The best view is from Antarctica. You may see it from the South Pacific if you're afloat in a boat out there. I was asking the administrators here how far this program reaches, and I was astonished at how many people around the world can see it. I would say the odds are very low that someone who's in Antarctica right now doing some research is going to be watching for the eclipse and watching this this webcast as well, but you never know. And if nothing else, anybody who's interested in seeing the eclipse, we can do it the modern, new-fashioned way and watch it on the internet. NASA is going to have a stream, and I'm sure that if their performance isn't great, you can find a dozen other streaming sites that will be showing the eclipse. The moon, the thing we love to hate. First quarter, December 10th, full moon, December 18th, last quarter, December 26th, and the new moon on next January 2nd. The lunar X, for people who like searching for that, people who don't know about it, it's an intersection point between two craters. And at a certain point, when the sun's at the right angle, the sun will illuminate the rims of the craters. The dark in the center of the craters will make it look like there's an X written on the moon. December 11th, unfortunately starting at 7:30 in the morning. I've gone looking for the lunar X before, and I've seen it at night. I've never had any luck trying to see it during the day, but give it a try. The worst thing will happen is you'll get to have a look at the moon. So we've got planets as always. Mercury is visible in the evening once we get closer to the end of the month, around Christmas or so. Venus is disappearing. Right now it's still visible low in the west, clouds permitting after sunset, but it will be disappearing behind the sun soon enough. Mars is behind the sun right now, but it's going to be coming out before the next meeting, showing up before sunset. Before sunrise, the other one. The big planets still visible in the evening, although they're getting lower. Saturn is still visible, but it's never very high now. Once the sun is set, it's pretty much down its sun following path. Jupiter is close behind, extremely bright, but and quite obvious, but you're not going to be able to see a lot of details. The moons and the rings are still going to be visible though, so even if you're not going to get a spectacular high detail view, if you have friends and family that still want to see planets and spectacular sights of moons and rings, this is they're still up there and still going to be good. Uranus and Neptune are better placed. They're still up in the sky during the evening into midnight. Uranus just passed opposition a short while ago, so it's in an excellent position for viewing. It's as big as it's going to get. If you're under dark skies, you should be able to see it with the naked eye. It's somewhere around 6 magnitude. Neptune follows behind in Aquarius, and you should be able to see it until midnight. It's also not quite at opposition, but pretty close. So if it's not the best view you're ever going to get, it's going to be close enough. I don't know if anybody has ever seen any detail on the planetary disks with an amateur telescope. If they have, I would be fascinated to hear it. I know I haven't, but I'm always surprised what the other amateurs out there can manage. Pluto and Ceres, the dwarf planets. Pluto's in Sagittarius and is way too close to the sun to be seen. Ceres is in Aquarius, kind of halfway between Uranus and Neptune, and I think it's about 8th magnitude right now. So if you're looking to see a dwarf planet and tick it off your list, Ceres is your best choice. So I always like to do a little bit of deep sky stuff. M45, the Pleiades, you can't miss it when you step outside. It's the one that looks like the little wee dipper in the constellation of Taurus. Even when I'm in the city, I can see it. So, and I live right downtown, so it should be visible to just about everybody with the naked eye. If it's with binoculars, it's even better. A rich field telescope, even better yet. If you're interested in testing the quality of the sky or the quality of your vision, counting the visible stars is a good way to do it. Downtown Toronto, I can see the Pleiades are there, but I can't necessarily make out individual stars depending on how hazy it is or depending on how my eyes are feeling that day. On the other hand, there are reputable stories of top flight amateur astronomers who are able to see 13 of them. And sometimes even more, although those are less reliable claims. And there we go. There's M45, everybody's favorite open cluster, or if it isn't, one of your top ones anyway. And because it's not really a challenging object to find, I like to throw in some extra stuff to make it a bit more of a challenge for more experienced observers. I mean, the big one is going to be spotting the reflection nebula. And that requires clear skies, dark skies, and most importantly, really clean optics. It doesn't take much of a smudge on an eyepiece to recreate that fuzzy blue light around your star. Variable star observers have there's a few variable stars in the cluster, but Pleione Bu Tauri is the brightest and most obvious. Goes from 4.5 to 5.5, 4.8 to 5.5 magnitude. So it's pretty obvious when it's changing brightness. If you're the kind of guy who looks for double stars, like my friend Blake, Asterope is a double star 2.8 arc minutes apart. Pretty bright stars. You might actually be able to see both of them with the naked eye if you have really sharp vision. Otherwise, you'll probably just see it as a slightly misshapen star. You may detect a certain oblongness to the star, but not actually be able to separate it. It'll be easy with binoculars, though. So comets and meteors. As I was saying before, we've got two big meteor showers coming up. The Geminids on December 14th. Both of these meteor showers are very short ones. We're really looking at one night where everything's going to happen, and past that one night, the density of the shower falls off very rapidly. So short duration for the Geminids, and also a lot of moon. It's moving on very close to the full moon. So unless you're up very, very late at night, early in the morning, you're going to have a lot of interference from moonlight and not see as many meteors as you would hope. The quadrantids are a much better option for us. January 3rd is going to be freezing cold, of course. Another short duration shower, good for one night, but the moon is almost entirely gone, and we could hope for up to 120 meteors an hour. Now, the thing about the Geminids is it's one of those showers that every now and then you get a massive meteor storm. I don't think anyone's predicting it this year, but you never know. It might be worth sticking your head out of at 4 o'clock in the morning and seeing if there's a meteor storm going on. And if not, go back to sleep where it's warm. The Ursids, much smaller, less dense meteor shower. I think we're looking at tens of meteors per hour instead of 60 or 100. And again, very close to the full moon, so it's not going to be an optimal shower for observing with. And then we get a few not quite meteor showers, meteor dribbles. We're looking at 1 or 2 meteors an hour. The monocerotids, the Coma Berenices, and the December Leonis minorids. All very small showers, but long duration. I would never advise anyone to go looking for them, but if you are out and you see a meteor coming from some spontaneous direction, you can track it back to its source and possibly identify it as a member of one of these minor meteor showers. So comets. Comet C2021A1 Leonard. That's the big one everyone's talking about. Visible early in the morning. Someone was telling me it's very close to Arcturus. I'm not a very early in the morning kind of guy, and it's been cloudy here for a good long time, so I have not seen it. But I'm also hearing rumors that it may be an outburst, possibly up to visible magnitude, 6 magnitude or so. Um, Absolutely unverified. I haven't seen it or seen any official uh, discussion of its brightness, just people talking about it on forums. Uh, if you live somewhere where it's going to be clear between now and the next few weeks, uh, get out there and see if you can see it. See if you do get a naked eye comet. It's been a while since we've had one. Within a few weeks, I believe it's going to be getting closer to the sun and looping around, so we'll lose track of it for a while. So next couple of weeks are probably your best opportunity to try and see it. 67P Churyumov-Gerasimenko, ninth magnitude in Cancer. It's been hanging around for a while. It's still pretty good as far as small telescope comets goes. C2019 L3 Atlas in Lynx should be visible for, if not all of the night, most of it. 8P Tuttle, 10.4 in Centaurus. That one's, you're going to have to carefully plan your observing time for when Centaurus is actually visible from your location. If you're here in Toronto, I would say the odds are low. If you're viewing from New Zealand or Australia, I'd say your odds are very high. And 29P Schwarzmann-Walkman 1, 10.6 magnitude in Perseus. These are all the comets that are currently being reported with a magnitude of greater than 11. There may be, actually, I know there are many, many dimmer ones than that. But for those, I'm going to suggest that you head to your favorite astronomy software or to one of the comet finding pages on the internet. Otherwise, I would be here all night just listing the dozens of 14th magnitude comets. So I like double stars, and I picked a fun one this time, Sirius, Alpha Canis Majoris. We all know it as the brightest star in the sky. It's insanely obvious when we go out there and look at it. But the interesting fact is that it is a double star, and its companion, 8.4 magnitude, is a white dwarf, the closest one to Earth. There are a few white dwarfs you can see if you have a decent telescope, but this is certainly the easiest one to at least know where it is, if not necessarily see it. The problem with it is it's very close to Sirius, and Sirius is a bright star, and when you point your telescope at it, the glare is going to wipe out any possible sighting of an 8.4 magnitude companion, especially since it's only about 11 seconds away. I mean, if there were comparable brightness, it would be an easy double to split with the telescope, but with the disparity in brightness, it's actually quite difficult. So I've uncovered two possible ways to make an easy discovery. Because Sirius B trails behind it, set up your telescope so you're pointing at a wall or a telephone pole ahead of where Sirius is going to track in front of you. Wait for Sirius to disappear behind the wall, and then you should be able to have a nice easy view of the 8.4 magnitude companion. The other option is to get a hold of an occulting eyepiece, which is an eyepiece that has a strip going straight down the middle of the field of view. It's not only good for finding things like these hard to find double stars, but if you're ever interested in looking for the moons of Mars, it's a useful tool for that as well. But either one of those tricks, you should be able to see a white dwarf with your own eyes. Now, you can't expect me to go through an entire talk without talking about various stars. And my pick this time was Omicron Ceti. And I picked this star before the news broke about the latest variant. This is just a weird, terrible coincidence. So we can talk about it by its other name, Mira, the miraculous, the first well-known intrinsically variable star. People knew about Algol, but that one is actually an eclipsing variable star. The star itself doesn't change brightness, This one does, and it famously does. It has a pretty huge range, 2.5 to ninth magnitude. Right now it's about seventh magnitude and dropping, so you'll need a telescope to find it. But when it pops on the upspring, it's going to be easily visible to the naked eye. You'll be able to see how the constellation Cetus visibly changes when the mirror is at its full brightness. It's one of the long-term variables. It takes about 400 days for the star to expand, cool off, dim. Then as it dims, there's less light pressure, gravity pulls it back, it squashes down, the gravity increases the pressure, it heats up again, it brightens up again, and this cycle goes on and on every 400 days for many thousands of years. The star is currently in its death throes, so enjoy it now. In 500,000 years, it may be gone. And I'm actually going to throw in an extra variable star, Nova Cassiopeia 2021, or V1405 Cass. 9 months after discovery, it's still visible to small telescopes. It's down around ninth magnitude. It stuck around seventh magnitude for a long time and just recently started to drop. Pretty close to Beta Cassiopeiae, or M52. And I'm going to bring it to your attention and plead with you to go to the website of the American Association of Variable Star Observers, look up V1405 Cassiopeia, and figure out what you can do to get a real live observation of this and contribute it to the database. Be part of the world of real science. It's an interesting subject. Typically, nova don't stay steady for 7 months and then drop off. They kind of drop off steadily. So why this one's behaving oddly, no one knows, and the scientists who want to know this want your data. So stuff coming up in the world of spaceflight. Obviously, the big number one, the one everybody cares about, the James Webb Space Telescope is confirmed to be launching on December 22nd. All the accidents over, all the bumps and the vibrations, everything has been tested. So this is it. We've got all our fingers and toes crossed that it's a success, because unlike the Hubble Space Telescope, it will be unrepairable once it's up there. So a lot of hopes and wishes going up there with it. Virgin Launcher 1, they're going to be attempting to launch a satellite from a 747 sometime in December. That's the official plan anyway. The exact date is still to be determined. NASA will be launching the Imaging X-ray Polarimetry Explorer on December 9th. And we've got lots and lots of space station passes coming up. We've got lots of passes in the evenings until December 11th, and then from the 16th until the next meeting, we will have lots of morning passes. It's always fun to go out there and see with the naked eye a spaceship flying overhead with a bunch of astronauts in it. It makes you feel like you're living in the future. Heavensabove.com is my go-to place for times and locations of passes. Most modern planetarium software will have the information as well. You can schedule your phone to ring you every time the space station's passing over. And always, what if it's cloudy? That's certainly a concern for us at this time of year. And I'm going to say once again, Zooniverse.org has a giant heap of citizen science projects. Dozens merely in astronomy, but all kinds of other sciences are represented as well if you want to spend your spare time in computer cycles doing something useful for the world of science. We have 4 projects that I thought looked interesting this time: Backyard Worlds, Planet 9, Searching for Exoplanets. disk detective, where we're looking at other stars to try and see if we can find planetary disks or forming planets around it. Gravity spy, working to reduce data from the the thingy with the gravity wave detector, and reducing data from the Super WASP variable star observing project, one of those multiple lens telescopes doing sky surveys. So all those things are available for any of us to step in and do our bit to help out the cause of science. So that is more or less what I've got for this month. If you have any questions, I will be very happy to answer them.
Thank you very much, Andy. Great coverage of the sky this month. Do we have any questions for Andy, Emma?
Nope, no questions from the audience.
Okay, well, thanks very much for listening.
Okay, thanks again, Andy.